Welcome!
Welcome.
Hello!
Welcome to
Doctor Who, Time and Space.
a podcast, a weekly podcast about Doctor Who, time and space.
All things Doctor Who.
Indeed.
From news and features and episode reviews. All you need in a Doctor Who podcast is in this Doctor Who podcast. I'm Liz Moon.
And I'm D Cool.
Now, we were thinking we weren't going to be doing this podcast earlier, weren't we?
Were we?
Well, the YouTube thing changed.
Oh, yeah. YouTube's changed. We couldn't work out how to get it working. But we're here.
We did.
But that's why we're 1 minute late.
Yeah, only 1 minute.
Yeah.
Only 1 minute.
And if we'd been any later, we would have just got into our TARDIS and gone back in time and started exactly 4 o'clock.
Why haven't we done that in past episodes then?
Because we've only just got a TARDIS.
I know.
So what have we got on this week's show?
We have our views on the John Nathan Turner period.
Okay, so that's part of the Judge My Tenure,
Yes.
the showrunners.
What else have we got?
We've also got a roundup stroke review of the Who, or the new Who episode, Night Terrors.
We will be doing a Who to Face.
We'll have news and views.
And we will be pressing the magic randomizer button.
Yes!
I never get to say that bit.
I know. I always
Decool always hogs that bit, jumps in and steals the bit when you say the magic button we call the randomizer.
The thing is, you see, is because I've always forgotten what else we've got on the show, as you can always remember. So that's why. Should we kick off with the news?
Yes, because we've had 2 or 3 minutes of tangents already.
Mm-hmm.
So, and introducings and welcome.
We should actually call the show Doctor Who Tangent and Space. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah.
Because it's what happens.
There we go. Another tangent, but it was kind of to do with it. So, now Maisie Williams is not a returning character. Drop your Susan, Jenny, Rani and Chloe Webber speculation right now. Stephen Moffat has said that Maisie Williams is playing a new character and is definitely not a returning character.
Oh, gutted.
I think they shouldn't have revealed that.
No, I'd agree.
Because I think it would have been good to see more opinions like when Series 9 was on.
Remember
with Missy.
Moffat lies.
He does, yeah.
So maybe it is. Who knows?
Yeah,
maybe
who knows? Who knows?
So what do they say then?
So speaking at the Television Critics Association's press tour, Moffat said, "Once you see what she's up to, you'll appreciate what a clever idea the role was. It's a significant role. We're not just throwing her away. It's a great part and she's terrific in it." He adds, "One thing I think is worth saying, because it keeps coming up as an issue, is that she's not playing a returning character. She's a new character. She's not a character from the Doctor's past." Another Ask the Execs video has also been released today, with Stephen Moffat and exec producer Brian Minchin briefly discussing Williams' casting. It was Minchin's idea to cast Maisie after seeing her captivating performance in Cyberbully. Moffat had an idea for a fantastic character and it just gelled. Moffat adds that Maisie provides a fantastical contrast to Capaldi. It's like a grand old Victorian actor opposite a YouTuber. They work beautifully together.
Can I see? I've got a bit of a theory here.
Okay.
I think the reason Moffat may have said this is because it's correct. She isn't a returning character. But B, to take away basically a bit of a sort of smoke shield to the fact that there is a returning character in it.
Yeah.
I reckon there will be a returning character
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
I think something like that. But I've got this thing in my head that at some point or other, Ian's going to be in it as a governor.
We do have that big cliffhanger, don't we?
Do we? Which one?
We have two big cliffhangers. We had that one in the Zygon.
Oh yeah.
Two-parter, and we have that one in the that one in the final.
I've just got a feeling that Ian might be in it. So it'd be a really nice thing to do.
Yeah.
And they've said something about harking back to the first series, haven't they?
Well, they said they're harking in the first episode. They've got subtle tributes to the 60s.
Yeah. Although I guess if you put Ian in it, it's not necessarily very subtle. It's sort of like, here's Ian.
Ian Chesterton.
But the whole thing with him being a governor at the school, I think that's what it is. That's the reason.
Yeah.
If he's a governor at the school, he's still alive. It'd be quite easy to.
I think the writer of The Caretaker, Gareth Roberts, when The Caretaker was on, can you remember when he said something like, I would like to have Ian in it, but it would have been good in the story, but I didn't get to fit it in or something.
Yeah. I just think it'd be a bit of a waste because, he's, as I say, he is still with us. He's one of the original people. It'd be lovely.
He'll only be alive for a few more years. So.
Well, let's hope a fair few, but
let's hope.
So
I'm sure he's like 90 now.
Yeah, he probably is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have any comments or anything you wanted to share on this article?
Let's read some comments. Moffat teased us with Missy and so many other characters. He trolls us a lot as well. I won't believe anything until the actual episode airs. Okay. I suppose then it is possible that she might not have been calling the Doctor old man, but talking to someone else.
Nah, he is old.
Someone says, so Susan's mother?
I love the way that all the theories come in.
Yeah.
Theories. Fans are just fantastic for coming up with theories.
I know. The Doctor's past. Future then, maybe.
Maybe.
Says.
Yeah.
And finally, Stephen Moffat is trending on Twitter because of this. It's hilarious.
Yes. So, do we have other news, or have you got any comments you wanted to raise about this point?
Now, I was thinking it could be Susan. I was thinking it could be Jenny.
Yeah.
I did not think Chloe Webber.
Who is Chloe Webber?
Fear her.
Oh, right, okay. Well,
I think that's just a joke.
I haven't seen that, so. Yes. So.
You haven't seen that.
So what's next up on the news one?
BTS, which we're going to look at some behind the scenes on Series 9.
Ooh.
Thursday we had a fantastic pic, Peter Capaldi filming at Caerphilly Castle.
Right. I can see a picture of Caerphilly Castle.
Yes.
With Peter Capaldi in it filming.
Which episode do you think that is from?
I don't really know.
Judging by they're filming I think they're filming the penultimate one, not the first part of the final at the moment. So
okay, so it could be from that. I was immediately thinking that it was perhaps the Mark Gatiss episode they were filming.
They're not filming that until last, I don't think.
Is that? Oh, they haven't started that one yet. Oh, right, okay. It's funny how they order these things differently, isn't it?
Mm.
Very odd.
Very odd.
So, have we got any comments on this? Any thoughts?
No, yesterday we also had another Ask the Execs thingy-majig.
So before we go into that, what actually are these Ask the Execs videos?
Now, Stephen Moffat and Brian Minchin they're on the show notes and the official Doctor Who the official Doctor Who website by BBC, and it's them asking Stephen Moffat and Brian Minchin, the showrunners, questions, and they respond to them. Some of them, and most of them, have been about Series 9.
Yeah.
Or about recent years.
So I've certainly enjoyed watching the ones I've watched. I was just
We've
laughing.
watched all of them so far.
I was just laughing to myself that the difference between this podcast and the vidcast that we do, because I was thinking if this was a vidcast now, the people listening to this vidcast would see you wriggling around, moving around all over the place like a bouncy.
You'd see me getting a drink
ball. Yeah.
from over there.
So, any thoughts or views on this particular article, or are you going to move on to the next one?
Let's talk about this Missy, the Next Companion video. It's next another As the Execs video with Stephen Moffat and Brian Minchin pondering whether Missy could be a companion.
Where did that question come from?
Well, there were rumours.
Was there?
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't think that Missy will be a companion, but I think, as we've said in this podcast before, similar to what happened in Logopolis, I can see her having to help the Doctor.
I think it'll be to do with the Daleks.
Yeah, maybe.
I think they're going to be in the premiere.
Yeah, it could well be.
Yeah.
Could well
And
be.
like all of the Daleks return. I think what's going to happen is they're going to go before a time when the first Dalek episode was set, you know.
Yeah.
And they're going to try and the Daleks are going to try and turn the old Daleks into improved versions, so the Daleks are totally supreme to all of that time, and then they have to stop this age of supremacy. And time changes.
Do you know one thing that I think is a waste, and there might be a good logical reason for this, and I've just forgotten. But at the end of Asylum of the Daleks, there was that great scene where the Daleks effectively forgot who the Doctor was.
That's what I was thinking. And then the next episode, they remember who the Doctor is.
And I'm sure there was some reason that explained that, but I can't remember what it was. But it just seemed like a bit of a waste, really, because that was a great idea, wasn't it? The whole fact that he'd effectively disappeared off the face of the Earth.
Yeah. The Moffat said that the Doctor wouldn't travel with Missy because she's diabolical. But Minchin thinks it sounds like something they should try because of the chaos it would bring.
Yeah.
So...
it's very, I don't think it could ever be more than a one-off or series of 2 quests, though. Do you?
Yeah.
2 stories, perhaps.
Wasn't Rachel Tallahay on set when they were filming the prequel at Caerphilly Bat in May? She wasn't on directing duties, but isn't it intriguing? Next, I'm more interested in this new rendition of the Nethersphere Missy theme playing in the background. I wonder if that's going to be her theme for Series 9.
Yeah. Do we know how many episodes Missy's in?
No, we only know she's in the first part, 2-parter.
I bet she's in more than that.
Final. She has to be in the
I think she'll be in the final as well.
She'll have to be.
Yeah. The very fact that
Return of the Time Lords. So apparently, what I'm intrigued by, I'm going to end the comments there. What I'm intrigued by is one of the interviews in the past said that Missy would come into the series in a way the Doctor and Clara wouldn't suspect.
What could be happening?
I don't know.
What could be happening? Perhaps the Doctor sat in the toilet and suddenly Missy's head pops. Missy's head suddenly pops out the bowl.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do we think? What could happen? It could be anything, really, couldn't it?
Could be anything.
And we don't really want to guess because it'd be a great surprise whatever happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, any other news on this?
We've got some more behind the scenes things.
Yeah.
We had this skull. Oh, pardon me.
It's a big skull.
We had this skull.
So what is this skull?
We don't know.
So it's got this sort of weird, like, badge thing or something like that, isn't it? Or
I
logo
think
thing
it's a
attached to
Gallifrey
it.
symbol, because the other day we were looking through some of those past Instagram behind the scenes photos, and we had discovered that various of them had Gallifrey symbols or references to Gallifrey.
The other thing we noticed the other day, sorry, we didn't notice. The other thing we did today, I was thinking about behinds. Was what did we load up today on the onto YouTube?
Behind the sofa.
Behind the sofa, episode 5.
Yeah.
Image of the Fendel.
Yes, you can watch it now.
So if anyone wants, we're not right now because you're listening to the podcast.
Yeah,
Once the
because
podcast
there's more interesting things coming on the podcast.
Yeah, so you don't want to watch it right now, but well, you could. I guess you could, and then you could come back and listen to this later because it's available.
Yeah,
but
you could watch this whenever you like if you want.
But it's definitely worth catching behind the sofa because we enjoy doing it, don't we?
Yes, we
get
do.
To see
and we enjoy doing this.
We do.
I you know what? All week I always look forward to this moment.
Oh, me too.
It cheers me up.
It does me too, and it's something we build up to, don't we, all day, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like our final duty of the day.
It is, yeah. But it doesn't feel like a duty. It's a good duty.
It's a good duty, yeah. Well, enough tangents. There's more Ask the Execs things. Moffat says that he is excited about the Zygons and Peter Harness's cracker of a two-parter, and how he thinks it's nailed the mid-season problem. There's a really good use for the Zygons, who he felt like a bit of a second fiddle in the 50th.
Yeah.
And also, they promised that there's more new monsters than old this year. There's a movement artist playing one in episode 1, and Moffat promises a cool reveal for it. The actor playing it is also playing a monster in episode 11.
I found that video in particular I really enjoyed, actually.
I did, yeah.
It
made me excited. That was the most enjoyable.
I'm intrigued about the Zygons because I think he's right. I mean, they were really good in the 50th, but
yeah, there
wasn't really an essential villain in it, was it? It was really the villain. Really was the War Doctor in his own mind, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah. It said it played second fiddle to multiple doctors, like everything, like the Daleks and the Time War.
So I wonder what we're going to see of them. I wonder what's going to make the Zygons so cool.
Well, there was that. Do you think there'll be Zygon children as well? Because they lifted up that Zygon child. That child in the trailer. Do you think there'll be Zygon children?
Maybe.
Oh, that would be cool. Or Zygon bugs or something, which pounce on.
Maybe that would be the case.
That'd be cool.
I don't know. When you sort of it's funny, isn't it? Because we still don't know too much yet. We have like vague ideas about each of the stories, don't we?
Yeah.
Or
no. Well, episode 9 and episode 11 and 12 are hardly revealed, but I think hopefully this week we will have something revealed.
I guess by the time of the next Doctor Who magazine, we should have a bit more information, shouldn't we?
Yeah. It is August, so now I think we're due like like a bit of big news, and then maybe near the end of the month we might have like a clip or a synopsis or something.
Maybe. Which of interest, and this is going off on a tangent as always, but this is the Doctor Who Tangent and Space Show.
Now, episode 180.
Which is the episode you're most looking forward for this new series?
Now, the Zygon one.
Yeah. They're all quite exciting, aren't they? I'm looking forward to seeing Macy in one.
Yeah, I'm looking, and I'm also looking forward for the final.
Yeah.
The first one.
Yeah.
The Toby Whitehouse one, the Mark Gatiss one, and the one when Riggs is in it.
That's all of them, then.
And the woman who lived.
What's the one with the what one do we think it is that's got those weird, scary faced people in it?
With the no eyes.
Yeah.
The Toby Whitehouse.
So yeah, I'm looking forward for that one.
It's meant to be a ghost story in an underwater base or something.
That just sounds brilliant, doesn't it?
I know.
Yeah, that sounds brilliant. So, anyway, tangents aside, what else do we have news-wise?
Well, we were talking about the other Aztec sex that was released. There's been more, but finally the pair talk about their favourite Clara moment from Series 8, the volcano scene in Dark Water. Moffat says there's another good one coming up in episode 5. He's selfish, he's choosing all the ones he's written. Where the Doctor storms out of a place saying that he can't help, and Clara follows him out to talk to him. Moffat thinks it sums up their entire relationship in a few lines. A rather short, beautiful moment.
Yeah. I guess the thing is, though, Moffat probably does like his ones best because they best capture the characters he's created.
Yeah.
Don't they? So, yeah. How many? We've got quite a few Moffat ones in this one, haven't we? This time out. Is there more than normal? I mean,
No.
last time was a bit weird because he co-wrote some, don't we? We think he probably co-wrote the Missy bits.
Yeah.
Or wrote the Missy bits, and therefore they were co-written episodes.
He's got episodes 1 and 2. Episode 5 is a co-write, and he's got the final.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah, I see.
So he had more last time, even though they were mostly co-writes.
Okay.
So this picture next looks really cool, doesn't it?
So what have we got there? So we've got a picture of the Doctor.
You can see it in the show notes.
Okay, you can see it in the show notes, but it's the Doctor facing St Paul's Cathedral with the Cybermen walking down the steps.
Yes, and it's the Dark Water Death in Heaven cinema event.
And we've been, sorry, I'm just going to say, we've walked down those steps.
Yeah, we have. The Series 8 finale at Dark Water Death in Heaven will receive a 3D cinema release just ahead of the Series 9 premiere. US cinema listings have appeared for a limited 2-day event taking place in September. An exclusive prequel, yes, they are still calling them that, entitled The Doctor's Meditation for Series 9 as promised.
So what's actually happening with this cinema show then? So what are they actually doing? Is it just in a certain place it's being shown?
Yeah. Well, it's not been confirmed if it's actually going to be in the cinema yet.
Ah, right.
But
Okay.
there have been rumours.
Okay. I mean, if they did that on general release, would you want to go and watch it?
What do you mean?
If they released Death in Heaven, is that what they're talking about? Death in Heaven?
Yeah.
They're thinking about showing Death in Heaven on cinema.
Both of the parts in 3D.
Yeah. Would you want to go?
With the Series 9 premiere and a Q&A.
Oh, all in one?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I didn't realise that it was going to have the premiere coming straight after it.
The prequel, I mean.
The prequel, right. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Prequel.
Okay, not episode 1.
No.
No, so it'd be, let's just get this straight then.
Yeah.
So it would be Death in Heaven.
Yeah.
Whatever the one was that came after that. Or was that Death in Heaven? What was the final one?
Dark Water Death in Heaven.
Dark Water, Death in Heaven, and the prequel. And a Q&A.
The Q&A.
So if that was on in the cinema, would you want to go and watch it?
Probably, because it's in 3D.
Yeah.
And there's a prequel, which can never be seen by anyone.
So we'll try and do that then if it comes down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. I don't think it's going to be here. It might. Let's see.
It's
Where
going to
is
be a
it?
one-off, is it? Probably Cardiff again then, I'd imagine.
Probably.
Or maybe London.
Maybe.
Maybe London.
Real D 3D and Dolby Atmos sound where available.
Yeah. Well, that seems to indicate that it's more than one place then.
Okay.
Well, we'll have to keep a lookout.
So the event is US only.
Oh, no, it does. After we've been talking about it for 10 minutes.
That wound us up. BBC Worldwide told Sci-Fi Bulletin that due to the number of events taking place for Doctor Who this year, including the Symphonic Spectacular and the Doctor Who Festival, we decided against showing the episodes in UK cinema. A 3D Blu-ray release of the episodes will be also reportedly follow 22nd of September.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
We better speed on with the news because have you noticed the time?
I haven't noticed the time, but we have been chatting quite a bit again, as always. We like to chat. See, the thing is, we've always got so much to say, and we like to share it with you, the listeners.
So we've got the Diary of River Song details.
So what is this? I've not heard this.
Pardon?
I've not heard this.
Yeah, you have.
Have I?
It's remember the audios?
Oh yes,
Yeah, it's the
sorry,
audios.
Okay, it's the audios. Okay.
We did this a few weeks ago.
I remember now.
Launching in January 2016, Doctor Who: The Diary of River Song continues the adventures of the Doctor's wife and Time Lady adventuress, once again portrayed by Alex Kingston. Already announced is Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor, but today we're pleased to reveal other key names. Opening the adventures will be Alexander Valanos as Birdie, who will join River at an archaeological dig in opening story The Boundless Sea, written by a popular novelist, Jenny T. Colgan.
Mm.
Let's see. From there, River heads to the most exclusive gathering in the middle of hyperspace in Justin Richards' I Went to a Marvelous Party. There she meets Guildford and Isabella, a pair of socialities with connections to the mysterious rulers of the universe. Then next, James Goss puts River and the trail of mysterious planet-killing spore ships in Signs, where we are also introduced to a handsome time-travelling stranger, her future husband, Mr. Song, played by Samuel West. And the series concludes with the 8th Doctor's arrival in Rulers of the Universe. River must contend with a secret society and to face off with an ancient alien force, with her future husband caught in the middle.
Interesting. I think it's interesting the way that Big Finish are using some of the characters and things from the edges of Doctor Who, like the Unit and Torchwood and River Song. And I wonder whether perhaps we could offer them the Professor Travers adventures. And they might like that.
Yeah, they might make it better than we have.
Never.
If that's possible.
Never. So there's been some quite interesting news, really. I thought it'd been quite a light week on news.
One more bit of news.
We've got one more.
It's only a small bit.
Crumbs.
Now, did you like the fan show last week?
I did.
Has everyone watched the fan show? If they haven't, watch it now. Because, not this week's, but last week's. Because Capaldi wants to see Genesis of the Cybermen. I think it should be called Evolution of the Cybermen, personally.
I agree, yeah.
So it's different.
Yeah.
But Peter Capaldi has made no secret of his desire to see the Mondasian Cybermen properly back in Doctor Who. And now he has shared ideas on how they could be brought back. Speaking to the Doctor Who fan show, he said, we should either have some of them becoming Time Lords and somehow channeling it so that they can have access to time and space. Or I think it would be good if we had Genesis of the Cybermen. If we found the Doctor on Mondas itself in an adventure where he discovered the Cybermen actually being created.
I like that idea better. I don't like the Time Lord one much.
No.
But
yeah.
I don't suppose we'll see it, but it'd be good.
I don't suppose we'll see the Time Lord one, definitely.
Yeah.
Other monsters he'd like to see back include the Axons, Diamonds, Zarbi, and the I can never say this. Menoptera.
Where is that? Can I see that? Menoptera.
I think, that's it.
I don't know.
See how I struggle? Capaldi also shares some of his rainy day Doctor Who stories to watch. They are Rose, The Girl in the Fireplace, Vampires of Venice, The Rings of Akaten, Ark in Space, Frontier in Space, which I've now watched, Terror of the Autons, Dalek Invasion of Earth, Web of Fear, and The Mind Robber.
Excellent. What did you make of Frontier in Space, by the way? Was it good?
Yeah. Good story.
Yeah. Good. So, that's our news section.
That's our news section. Should I go on to the show notes?
Yeah, what have we got left off again? I'm assuming we're going to now
we
go
are
to
going to our
tenure.
Yes, to our 10. Yeah.
So judge my tenure. You better explain, just for those who haven't heard before.
Judge my tenure. Now we have had all of the doctors and their tenures reviewed, and we will look now at the good and bad of all of the producers and showrunners and ask questions to either go against them or to go alongside them.
Okay. So we've been doing this over the last couple of weeks. We've now got ourselves to that interesting period that is
John Nathan Turner,
so
which is 1980s period.
80s period, and basically saw us reach the end of Classic Who.
Yeah.
Well, that's not entirely true, is it? 'Cause you've got the movie thrown in as well.
Yeah, but we'll put that in this section.
Essentially, this takes us to the end of Who, doesn't it? It takes us to the cancellation of Who, at least.
It takes us to the cancellation of Who, but it might not take us to the...
So, in terms of when this started, then, am I right in because I never knew this, but I think this is something you told me last week.
Yeah.
John Nathan Turner's reign commenced at the tail end of Tom Baker's period. Is that right?
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
So he actually, because I immediately
started at the Leisure Hive.
Because I immediately thought that he just did the poorer episodes that we see with Colin and Sylvester.
Did you not think about Peter Davidson?
No, I didn't.
And stuff.
No, I didn't realise that he was in charge of those ones as well.
Really?
And there's some really good episodes in that period of time.
Like Case of Androzani, Curse of Fenric, Remembrance of the Daleks, loads.
So how then did the series deteriorate to the extent that it has?
Now it is called What Went Wrong, the JNT years.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So what went wrong?
Well, it kind of rang. We had the quiz a question last week, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
About has the jokes or the what was it? Let me look. Have jokes ever got out of hand in Doctor Who?
Mm-hmm.
It said, and I replied, the John Nathan Turner period or Sylvester McCoy or something, and that is because I think this period got a bit out of hand. It got a bit too family friendly. It's more dated than some of the classic ones.
I think it is, yeah. I think it's much more dated. I think that's probably a trait of the 80s full stop, because technology was beginning to change a lot faster.
Yes, it was.
And we're beginning to see that more and more. You know, just if you think in the small number of years that you've been born, in the great scheme of things, how much has changed in that period of time.
I know.
And at the times from, you think at the beginning of John Nathan Turner's tenure, people didn't have computers at home.
No, they didn't.
And now people don't just have a computer. They usually have about 5 computers, if you include tablets and phones, which are essentially mini computers.
Well, they're like devices, electronic devices.
Yeah, but they're a lot more powerful than the first computers that we had, which would have started coming out around that period of time. Yeah. So, technology's moved on a lot. And what that meant was the technology that they used in those days has become outdated very, very quickly.
As I said, even more than some of the classic. Because some of the classic ones, the actual classic episodes, like the black and white ones, and the John Pertwee ones and stuff, from the 1960s and 70s, even though they're older, they still have some good effects. But usually bad effects.
But I don't think the black and white ones, ones like the Moon Base, hasn't dated anywhere near as badly as, say,
because it's still quite eerie. The Moon Base.
Yeah. So, what do you like about this period? Let's start with the positives.
They did have some good episodes, I suppose.
I mean, you know, you've mentioned Kate Vander's Only. That's a lot of
I
people's
know.
favourite classic episode of all
I
time.
know.
Comes from this period. This
Yeah.
period that most people shun, dislike.
And Remembrance of the Daleks is one of everyone's favourites, and Curse of Fenric.
I'll tell you what, though.
But
you mentioned
Kate Vander's Only is the main one.
You mentioned Remembrance of the Daleks, and it's really high up in the list, isn't it?
10 in
10.
Dawn.
I haven't seen it all. I've only seen the first half. I thought it was good, but I wouldn't say it was anywhere near 10.
I'm going to agree with you. Yeah. I do think it was it's the second best Sylvester McCoy story, below Curse of Fenric for me, but it just isn't that high. Even Curse of Fenric isn't that high. Or there's a lot of stories which are better than it. But it's definitely not near the bottom.
No.
It's nearer the top than the bottom, probably.
But what we've got to remember, haven't we, is that a number of things happened during this period of time. Tom Baker left. And, you know, in reality, it was probably about time for him to leave.
Yes.
But I think, again, did he want to leave? I think it was more so that they wanted a younger Doctor coming in, didn't they?
Well, both.
Yeah.
Really. He refused to appear in Five Doctors. As I said last week, he didn't have enough pay. And are we going on to the bad now?
Sort of merging into that, yeah.
Okay.
I was just thinking about some of the things that had happened during that period of time. So you had the younger Doctor brought in.
Yeah.
You basically had the series. There'd been that talk, hadn't there, with we discussed this a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about the Hinchcliffe years, and he was effectively taken off of it because people felt that it was getting too scary.
Yeah.
But it then just went in the complete opposite, didn't it? It got less and less scary, and it got to the stage where it was actually quite embarrassing at times because it was like a little kids program. Not all the time.
They were planning at this point. I think they were planning on. I think Tom Baker suggested that they should have a female Doctor next at this point.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I think so. I've read it.
I think the way that it was going before it was cancelled, and let's exclude the last series because the last series is not without its merits.
No.
But it got to the stage where actually it was less scary than actual kids programs. You look at something like Sarah Jane's Adventures was far more cutting edge than these first two series of Sylvester McCoy.
Well, no, the second series isn't too bad.
Okay, well, let's take the first one.
Well, no, Greatest Show in the Galaxy.
Let's take the first one then.
Yeah.
So the first one is nowhere near as, you know, it's not as cutting edge as Sarah Jane.
No, it isn't.
Yeah.
I watched Paradise Towers and Time of the Rani recently.
Yeah.
And it was terrible. Blue Kangs, red Kangs.
Were they both
cleaners. Pardon?
Were they both terrible?
Yeah.
Both episodes. Yeah.
Yeah. I probably preferred Time in the Rani, even though it's lower down in Dawn than Paradise Towers. And Peck's there. It really annoyed me, that episode.
I feel a bit sorry for both Sylvester McCoy and Tom Baker because I don't think it's their fault that the Doctor Who stories that they were in were inferior. I think whether it was John Nathan Turner's or whoever's, but somewhere along the lines, Doctor Who took a turn for the worst.
Now, John Nathan Turner actually didn't want to carry on in 1987, but he had no choice because there were no script editors, no producers, no Doctor, or no script when he started off in that year.
Is that right?
No scripts, no Doctor, no script editor, no producer. So he had to stay on.
It just makes you wonder if it hadn't been cancelled, where would we be at? And I think the way that it was actually the stories were going, they were getting more and more childish as they went along. It would have got to a time where the Doctor would have been fighting Teletubbies or something. In fact, the body wasn't too different when they faced the Candyman.
I know.
Although I like the Candyman.
I do, but
in reality, that isn't a very good story.
That isn't, There's
something entertainingly nice about the Candyman, but you know, William Hartnell would be turning in his grave watching that.
I know.
episode.
I know.
Yeah.
Truly.
Any other thoughts on this period? Do we want to go through the sort of standard questions that we asked?
Yeah, let me go back to it.
So,
which week was it?
I think there are some positives, aren't there? It's just...
Yeah, there are, but it's hard to pick them out.
Yeah.
The negatives.
It makes you glad, although there must have been that really horrible period where, well, there was that horrible period, but it wasn't horrible to me because I got fed up with Doctor Who because of the fact that it started turning a bit crap.
Would you have carried on with Doctor Who throughout your throughout your teenage years and stuff if it had carried on like Tom Baker years?
Maybe. I think that it's probably, thinking about why I stopped watching it, it's probably a mixture of two things. Firstly, I was growing up a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that when you're growing up, you go off of things, because you don't.
Because you don't.
But you're more likely to, and particularly if, as I was growing up and getting more adult-like, Doctor Who was going in the complete opposite direction.
Yeah,
and getting more and more childlike. So therefore, it became a real turn-off.
But if Doctor Who remains like it is at the moment, more dark, I would still like it.
I'm sure you will, yeah.
Yes.
Because it is.
If they have Ken Dodd as the next Doctor. No, but I don't know. Is Ken Dodd dead?
No, Ken Dodd's still alive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So standard questions.
Okay.
Best year.
Best year would probably be the first year with Tom Baker still in charge.
Maybe with the year with Case of Androzani, but also that year had twin dilemmas, so the worst and the best.
See, that's the interesting thing about that, isn't it? Because these two episodes followed each other, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
So you've got what a lot of people think is the best ever classic episode.
Yeah.
Followed by the worst ever classic episode.
And the worst ever episode ever. Well, not in my chart, but it's second to last for me.
Yeah.
It's even worse than Paradise Towers and Time of the Rani.
Yeah.
And that's saying something.
So, yeah, interesting. So, yes.
This isn't a Doctor Who rant podcast, though.
I would. I'm going to go for the. Maybe I'll join you on that sort of final series with Peter Davison. Is that the series that also had Visitation in it? Or was that the previous
That's
one?
the first one.
Okay. How many series did Peter Davison do?
3.
3 did he? I didn't realize he did as many as that.
Oh wait, the Visitation, Earthshock as well. Earthshock's another classic episode.
So there's some good
Forgot
ones.
about that.
But I'm going to give the Tom Baker one anyway, just because I like Tom Baker so much.
Okay, so best writer.
I'll let you answer that one because I can never remember who's who.
Robert Holmes, because he wrote Case of Androzani. Best episode.
Case of Androzani.
Yeah.
Probably.
Best achievement. Case of Androzani.
No, I'll tell you what the best achievement was.
What?
In a way, stopping Doctor Who. Although it was actually, in many respects, it's a sad moment. But what it did mean is that it completely refreshed it.
Yeah. Because if it hadn't ended, then we wouldn't have had the great Peter Capaldi and the great things that we have now. Probably.
Because I think
it'd probably be in parallel universe.
It's a great when people sort of use that expression, absence makes the heart grow stronger. Sorry. And I think there's probably a lot of that with Doctor Who, in that I think because people missed it, they forgot quite how bad some of those 80s episodes were. And they immediately, they thought back to the really great periods with Tom Baker and John Pertwee and people. So, in a way, that tends to happen when something stops and it's no longer in your life. You look back and it's the fond memories that you tend to have rather than the bad memories, normally.
Yes, usually.
And I'm not convinced we would have had an edgy Doctor Who like we have now if it had carried on.
No. Well, it's kind of like, but it would still be the 2000s, so it would still be better than the 1980s.
Yeah, the effects would be better.
Yeah.
Or would it? Maybe it would have, the popularity would have waned and waned and waned, and it would have ended up on Channel 5.
Imagine if it was like one viewer,
Yeah.
which was two viewers, which was us.
Yeah, indeed. But there we have it.
Watching it for the podcast.
Anything else to comment on this tenure?
No.
So next week then.
Yes.
I assume we're missing the movie, are we? Because
we're missing.
It's not really a tenure.
No, it isn't.
So we're going to be coming on to the Russell T Davies period and the return of Who.
Yes.
So
we go from the extinction of Who to the return of Who.
The return of Who. So that's just my tenure. We're on now to our review.
Yeah, Night Terrors.
Night Terrors. Shall I do my usual roundup?
Yes, do your usual roundup.
So first of all, Night Terrors was the episode we watched today. It was selected by the legendary randomizer last week, which is our big spreadsheet of every episode of Who ever.
We've got it right here.
We've got it ready for later for pressing the magic button again. It selected, of all of these episodes, randomly it selected Night Terrors. So we sat and watched that earlier today. It's basically a Matt Smith episode.
Yes, it is.
It
is.
It is. It's a one-off story.
Which is quite good.
Yeah.
Also, it means that we didn't have an episode to watch on Wednesday, but we did something for which we're going to do in a few weeks on the podcast.
Indeed. So, in terms of a summary of the story, and I won't give any spoilers here, so it's just going to be a very basic synopsis, which I'm making up on the top of my head. The Doctor, Amy and Rory floating around time and space in the TARDIS. The Doctor gets a SOS call, effectively, from a young child saying, was it save me from the monsters?
Yeah, please save me from the monsters.
Please save me from the monsters. And it's such a powerful message transmitted to the mind that it focuses off the Doctor, and he decides to go and actually find out what's happening. They end up in a London council estate, and they're desperately searching around for whoever it was that sent this message. They've assumed it's a scared boy.
Yeah.
And it is. Basically, the boy is scared of pretty much everything. Yeah. Pretty much everything, but particularly what he sees as being the monsters. And basically, the Doctor uses his psychic paper to convince the father that he's actually a social worker, and he goes in, starts chatting to the child, and then basically everything kicks off. That's probably all I need to say from the story perspective, isn't it? Because I don't really want to give away
because we will actually talk about what we thought. So,
and I think when we go to the Behind the Sofa vidcast, we tend to talk in a bit more detail about it. There's a few more spoilers perhaps in that. So
this is your non-spoiler review.
This is the non-spoiler review. So, what do we want to ask ourselves about this particular episode? What do you think of it?
I thought it was a good episode. It's nearer the bottom in our randomizer story, in our randomizer list out of 27 stories now. Just about to be 28. Well, it's better than people make it out to be, I'd say. It's quite creepy, but as I said, it's underrated.
Yeah, because if you were to go into the Doctor Who monthly poll, it's quite near the bottom, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
I can't remember the number, but it's low, isn't it? Is it as low as the bottom 10? It's there or thereabouts, isn't it?
Yeah, it's there or thereabouts, but I don't think it's in the bottom 10.
Okay, but it's pretty damn low. It's certainly within the bottom 20, I would say.
I'm sure it's near the bottom.
Yeah, and when you watch it, I don't know. I found myself wondering why it was quite as low as it was.
Yes.
By the end of it, I think I worked out why.
Yeah.
And it's because there's elements of it which are really brilliantly done.
Yeah.
With making it quite creepy.
I think I know what you're going to say.
But then there's an element of cheese that comes in.
I've got that.
Times.
Like there was some really good lines that Matt Smith said.
Yeah.
and there's some really funny lines, but sometimes the two mixed.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like that. When the Doctor was saying about those I've been round through all of the blocks or whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And something. That was quite a good quote.
Yeah.
But then it was ruined by like a funny quote or something.
But it's got
comedy quote.
But the peg doll.
Yeah.
Are really creepy, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
But then the actual, and I'm not going to say what happens at the end, but the actual ending bit which solved it all, that solved the problem.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, it's such a cheesy get out.
No.
And it seemed a shame because up until then it'd been really good. But
yeah.
And the other thing, I think at times the children's voices, which at some points were really, really effective, and other points when they were just going, "Come play with us, come play," it just sounded like a little bit like a bit of a naff horror film.
Yeah, it did.
So if they'd have actually gone to its full potential and kept it at the scary edginess that it had at times, I think it would actually be quite a highly rated episode.
I did too.
But I think possibly it's this little element of cheese that came in that take away from it a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So what do you think of Matt Smith as a Doctor?
I like him. I like Matt Smith as a Doctor.
Yeah,
He's one of my favourite Doctors.
And the companions, Amy and Rory?
Yeah, I like both of them.
I do.
Amy's one of my favourite. She's probably my favourite New Who companion.
No, Clara and Martha beat her for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I'm not necessarily in the majority when I say that because not everybody likes her, but I do.
Well, I like her, but she's not she's not my favourite New Who. Not my favourite ever, but she's near the top, I can remember.
Yeah. So yeah, they work quite well. Good. I don't know. I like the way that. I like the way that still at this sort of stage in it, she's the boss and Rory follows, and that was quite fun, I think, at times.
It does.
Would I recommend it to people?
It's not really a story which is relevant, I would say.
Yeah.
I think it's good until the end, so maybe turn it off just before the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Just before something happens at the end. When you think it's going to be ending.
I don't necessarily think it's a bad ending. It's just a little bit cheesy.
Yeah.
It reminds me a little bit of... It might even be... Was it from the same series or was it the series after? What was the series that had Hyde in it?
The series after.
Because that was another story which was really edgy, but then you felt a little bit let down by the ending.
I know. Yeah.
And some, to be fair, endings are pretty difficult. And
they are.
Because you want something to not be too predictable. And at times you want, there's got to be some sort of conclusion. But there's a handful of episodes where the conclusion doesn't feel like it does justice to the story.
No.
And that's
I agree.
And that's probably one.
I agree. Yeah. Okay, do you want to go on to scores?
Yes.
Okay, monsters.
Monsters, actually, top-notch monsters. I'm going to give them a 9 because I think they're really edgy, really creepy.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. I think 9. I'll agree. Creepy. Or character development.
Not really too much.
No, even though it's a New Who one, there's not much character development.
No, it's definitely a filler episode.
It is, yeah. Just to, like some episodes in the series are really good, and some episodes aren't really.
Moffat mentioned when you were talking earlier on about the Zygon adventure in the new series, and he said how the Zygon one takes away that mid-series blip. He didn't use that phrase. I don't think he'd want to admit that there's a mid-season blip. But there is always that sort of thing there where everyone's really keen to watch the first few episodes and it dwindles a little bit and then you get like the real big action-packed ending. And that does feel like a sort of middle season episode. It does. Yeah.
So, next up we've got excitement. This is a hard one.
It is a difficult one because there's times where it is really exciting, but I felt that it felt like it could be more exciting.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were times where it worked really well, but it could have been better. So I'm going to give it 7 because you know how when people at school, when they can get some results, sort of say they've done very well at their work, but they could do better if they tried a bit harder, and it's one of those for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any more scores?
What
do you think?
Pace.
Pace. Okay. Pace. I think the pace works quite well. I'm going to say it's about an 8. Pace.
And finally, episode overall.
7.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not really a harsh sort of critic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't rate everything a 10.
Mm.
So.
It's an enjoyable episode.
Yeah. So.
But it's not classic. It's not a classic.
It isn't as good as Genesis Daleks or Death Doctor or anything.
Well, no, indeed, yeah. And I can see why it's nearer the bottom than the top. But I can't see how it's as near the bottom as it is.
Yes, I agree. Okay.
Because you've got quite a few 80s episodes that are surely worse than that.
Yeah.
Does that round us off for that? Does that take us then to pressing? I'll let you introduce this because I apparently always steal the thunder.
No, you don't. It's just you don't realise you're doing it. Okay, so now we're going to press the randomizer, the magic button, which tells us which episode we will be watching and reviewing next week, if it's a 4 or under part.
If it's longer than that, then we watch it over a couple of weeks and report back. There are the odd occasions where we have to press it more than once because with it being totally random, it has on occasion brought up episodes that we have just already watched and reported on. Then. Yeah.
It's got the moon base, which we only watched like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So we won't be watching those again. Right. And occasionally it comes up with the odd one that we haven't got. But
we press it every week, except for the weeks when it's more than 4 parts.
Yeah. So are you going to press the magic button?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. Let's have a drum roll. Okay.
I don't know if we can watch that one.
Okay, press it again.
Okay.
Okay, that's quite coincidental.
Coincidental, yeah.
Quite coincidental, so the episode that's just come up is one we mentioned only about 2 minutes ago, which is another New Who one.
It's Hyde.
Okay. So we'll probably we won't bother giving that roundup. We'll just copy and paste what we've just said about good episode, disappointing ending.
So we've got 2 in a row. But the next week we'll have Time Heist.
Probably, yeah. So yeah, that's good. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's what we got. We got Hyde. So we won't be watching anything on Wednesday. We'll be watching that next Saturday and talking about it.
And we will be and pressing it for the 29th time.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
Thanks. I actually like Hyde. I can remember.
Yeah,
I think I preferred Hyde than Night Terrors.
Our most modern episode so far, and our first Clara episode.
Oh, of course it is, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so that brings us on to our final item, which is good actually because we've been going for an hour, and we need to get a shifty on.
Yeah.
So, what do we have as our last item of the show?
Who to face? The only quiz show with the homemade theme tune.
So, Who to Face is basically it's a little bit that we added a handful of weeks or so ago, where similar to the randomizer, we've got a lot of villains and a lot of doctors, both in lists. We press a random button and we get one from one pot, one from the other.
Yes.
And then we both have to invent a story featuring that doctor
Who
and that
goes
villain.
first this week? Is it you?
Is it really?
I think so.
Okay.
And it's me next fortnight.
Okay, have you pressed it or not?
No.
Okay, so press it. I've always got a bit of a disadvantage because I don't necessarily know who everyone is.
Okay.
Okay, so what do we have?
Well, we've already had a story with them. I mean, actually, in Doctor Who.
Okay.
We count it if we've
Yeah, that's fine because we can do a second one.
Okay. The Macra with the second Doctor.
The Macra with the second Doctor.
Yeah.
So can I just check? The Macra are the same things that were in the David Tennant episode? Gridlock. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like these large, they're like bug type creatures, are they?
The crab things.
Crab thing.
The pincers.
The crab
thing. At the end of the moon base.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because the Macra invasion or whatever it's called.
Macra
Terror doesn't exist anymore, does it?
No.
So, okay, so let me just quickly think this one through.
The only quiz show which isn't thought through.
Who's the assistant in the first one?
Ben and Polly.
Ben and Polly. So.
And Jamie.
Okay.
How could I forget?
Okay, so here goes then. Yeah. So the Doctor, Jamie, and Zoe.
Okay.
It's going to be in that period of time.
Okay.
I'll come up with my name at the end because I'm going to make this up as I go along a little bit. It's the first time where the Doctor decides they're going to head back home again, and he's going to drop Jamie off first of all, and then drop Zoe off afterwards. So they head back to Scotland in the sort of Highlander times.
Yeah.
And there's all these rumours of children going missing.
Okay. And
this deep well of terror. Okay.
This is so made up as it's going along.
And what you've got this leader of the clan who's called Clanius Clanberg.
It is
Clanius Clanberg or something like that. And basically he's been telling people to bring their firstborn children and sacrifice them to the god of the sea. And in order to do that, they're basically throwing their children into this well. What we find out is actually, the Macra are in this well, and they're beginning to evolve into what we eventually see in Gridlock.
Oh, cool.
Okay. And I think I won't go in any more than that as to what happens to the story because I've just given a basic synopsis. So it's like what you'd see on the back of a DVD that way, isn't it?
Yeah, but a bit longer.
But a bit longer and a little bit crapper. and it's called Destiny of the Firstborn.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. My one is called The Magic Claw.
Okay.
Now it's the Doctor, Jamie, and Victoria.
Okay.
Because that's the only companion that hasn't met the Mara out of our stories.
Okay.
And they're not counting the Macra terror.
Okay.
So
where would this be? So this would be in between our two stories, would it?
Yeah.
The actual story and my.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called, the first one.
So they land on Earth.
Yeah.
And they land at this sort of like circus. And when they go in there, they find this magician is doing magic tricks and everything. But he actually is working. He's actually preserving a magic claw, which could actually kill people, and they've been experimenting on people who are worthless to the human race before they actually take over the human race, and the Macra actually spread all over the earth. And the Doctor, Jamie, and Victoria, are the only ones that can stop it. That's just a brief synopsis.
Yeah, that sounds good. So what's yours called?
Magic Claws.
Ah, yeah, I like it.
I told you, yeah.
You told me that, did you?
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. It's good.
Okay. Yours was good as well.
Yeah, mine. I think the basic idea of mine was good. I had a few silly names in it because I couldn't think of them off the head. But the actual basic synopsis, I think, would be alright.
Yes, I think so too.
It'd be better than Greatest Show in the Galaxy.
Yeah, it would.
It certainly. I don't think either of our stories, since we made them up as quickly as we did, they would still be better than most of what came through from the John Nathan Turner story. So there we have it.
Oh,
It's that time again.
I have to wait one more week before this comes on again.
The podcast is over for the week.
And you have to wait one more week as well. Well, next.
But you do have the luxury of being able to watch behind the sofa.
Yes, so watch
if you
that
want to.
If you want. Now we will also next week we will be doing our take on the Russell T Davies era of Doctor Who.
We'll have a quiz or question.
We will look at the 11th Doctor and Clara episode, Hyde.
We'll be we'll be giving you some news and views.
And we'll be pressing that magic button.
I wanted to say that. Thank you very much for joining us.
So we'll see you next time on Doctor Who Time and Space. We hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.